Hey there. Okay, today we are going to talk a little bit about how to complete reporting for population. You can run these reports through CampusVue. So I'm going to share my screen with you. We are jumping into CampusVue. So in CampusVue, there are several reports that will help you with reporting, but one of the first and most valuable is your master student listing. So if you go to Reports, Academic Records, and then down to Master Student Listing. And I like to use Detail. You can use Summary as well, but Detail gives you a little bit more information, so depending on what you're trying to do, Detail can be helpful. Just provides all the possible detail that you can get. So let's say we're doing this for Studio School. For me, I'm going to select Studio School. You will have your campus as a default, so you probably won't have to go through that step. The statuses you will want to select typically are active, warning, so any students that might be on SAP warning if you have any of those statuses at your campus, probation, pending SAP if applicable, probably not, pending graduate. I also always do NDS active and leave of absence in case that applies at your particular campus, but you probably know your active statuses. So again, simply selecting those particular active student statuses will help you to pull the appropriate information. So for the master student listing population report, that's really all you need to do is select those active statuses, then you will select preview. And it will pull up your master student listing detail. Once you have that, you can export it to Excel. And then I like to do a pivot table to show me the specific numbers, but this should be your active student listing. So for Studio School right now, we can see in the system, we have about 253 students active. Of course, we have to remove the title line. And then for a pivot table, I will go to Insert in Excel, Pivot Table. Okay. I like to select student name. You can select student name, social security number, whatever you choose for values. Basically, it's just showing how many values there are. Typically select campus, but of course, if you only are looking at one campus, it's a little bit different. You can see all of the options here for the pivot table of ways that you can break this down. There's program version description, the add program version is typically, program description, there we go, is the one that will show you the different types of programs that you have and how many students are in there. So pretty simple to see, okay, I've got 73 students in the acting Bachelor of Fine Arts program, acting certificate 13, and so on and so forth. So that way you know exactly how many students are in each program and what your grand total of currently enrolled students is. So now going back to CampusVue. Close out of Excel. There we go. Go back to CampusVue. And if you're looking to see how many drops or graduates you've had, so those are status changes. So what you'll want to do is go to Reports, go down to the Status Change Report, say, Student Status Changes. You will select your campus, whatever that campus may be. If you need to, it may very well just default to your campus since you only have one. And what you'll want to do is you'll want to select if you are looking at drops, for example, so withdrawn students within a certain time frame. Typically, we are looking at monthly drops. So your time frame, your date added is going to be that month. But to begin, our previous school status will be All of our active status is just like we selected for the population report. So active, probation, maybe warning if you have that as a status. NDS active, leave of absence, maybe pending graduate. And then hit preview. Oh, don't hit preview until you've selected the month. So go back, cancel. Sorry. So then select the month that you want to do it. So for now, this month has only been 21 days, so I will select, all of the days that it has existed within the month, and then I'll also select, forgive me, the new status of withdrawn. For grads, instead of withdrawn, you'll simply select grad, and whatever time frame you want to look at for those particular status changes, and then preview. So for now, for me, it's showing, let's see, and exporting that status. It's showing 2, which is accurate. That's what we've been showing on the status reports. So again, you can always do a pivot table for this as well, especially if you have more than 2 to see, what programs. Some things I like to look at with the drops are to pivot by reason and program. So typically when we do the status changes, the registrar is entering in what the reason is. So for here, you can, for this particular report, the reason here we see transfer to other college, personal issues. Let's say we have more drops than that. So let's say 5 to 10. Is there a particular trend that we're seeing for that month or within the last year that shows us we have a lot of students transferring to other colleges? Why is that? Is that something we can address and improve on? We have a lot of students that have withdrawn for personal reasons. Do we need to look at providing additional, personal issue resources like counseling or outside support services? Those kinds of things are good data points to look at, both for the month and overall. So something to notice here, of course, for semester-based program, it looks like these students attended prior to the end of the summer. Typically, when we're looking at the campuses that are term structure, you would never see a stored LDA that goes beyond, 15 to 20 days, out because we are withdrawing within that specific time period because students are attending pretty much daily throughout that 12-week term and then ongoing throughout the year. Okay. So let's just look. So here again, we've selected withdrawn. If we undo the withdrawn status and we go to graduate, this will pull up whatever graduates you have. Anybody that went from an active status to a graduate status during that month will pop up in this report. And so if you select preview here, by the way, you can also save these reports. So this is my graduate report, for example. I know these are the particular selections that I want to save to run a graduate report, and I'm going to be doing that almost every day. So I can put in grad report, save that, and then every time I want to select that grad report, I will simply go to grad report, load, and it's going to load all the same information. You probably want to save it without the dates just because your dates may be changing from day to day, but it's just a great way to not have to go in and select all those active statuses and make sure everything's in there, just a fail safe so you don't make any errors and you can load it very quickly and efficiently. Then click preview. And so here we have 2 graduates. So 2 students that have been registered as grads for the term. Now something you always want to make sure of, this happens rarely, but sometimes these statuses and these reports can be impacted by historical data. So if IT and academics are working to put someone in the system and take them back out that may be a historical student in order for funding or allocation of funds in some way, shape, or form, they can pop up on this report before it's corrected by IT on the back end. So just make sure you're looking at that. Make sure those are always accurate. This is a true graduate. This is a true drop, so that your reports are always on point. Those are the particular pieces that you will include in your data for the weekly reporting on the calls. Something else to keep in mind is that the drop percentage that we're looking at when we are looking at the reports, and let me pull up an example report for a campus that we just went through. So these are the academic metrics that we're looking at for a particular campus. So what you want to do, depending on where the calculations are at, is look at what was your month beginning population. What is your current total population? So month beginning is going to remain the same throughout the term. And here actually this needs to be updated. So 7.0. Here, this is a budgeted percentage. So typically I will enter this budgeted percentage because that actually may be different than what your what your forecasted drop percentage may be, just because of the way that our budgeting and roll forward may look based on what the population maybe should have been or had been forecasted to be, at the beginning of the year. That's not maybe where you're at. But the forecasted drop percentage is going to be the number of drops you're forecasting for the month divided by your month beginning population. So you can see here with a month beginning population, which makes our calculation easy, of 100. If you're dividing the forecasted monthly drops of 7 by that 100, you're going to get 7%. And that's how we determine that forecasted drop percentage. It used to be calculated a little bit differently, but that continuing beginning of the month pop is what we now look at. And same thing goes for the actual drops. So if you're at 3 drops, your beginning, of the month population overall was 100, your actual drop percentage is 3%. So these are the things that we look at. You'll want to work with admissions to look at forecasted month-end population because, as you can see here, it may be 107 plus additional new starts. So making sure that you're looking at what the forecasted new starts are so you can give a full number as to what that forecasted end of the month population will be. I hope this helps. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. Always happy to help walk through reporting. Again, these reports are pulled through CampusVue. You can always save, again, these particular reports, both the master student listing for your population, as well as the withdrawal and grad reports, so they're easy to load and pull each day as you're pulling your data for reporting. Thanks so much.